So it will be Jody Smart who moves on to challenge Shirley Muldowney in the finals of the top fuel category. And when we come back to Pomona, California in the San Gabriel Valley, we'll have the semifinals in the exciting funny car class right after this. Back at the Winternational Drag Racing Championships, because it's a short, straight shot, this form of racing does not produce the kind of danger that some other forms of auto racing do. But we are taking a look back now at an unusual crash which took place a week ago in early rounds in the alcohol funny car competition. The car which you saw totaled belonged to Lou Gasparelli. It collided after the start with the car belonging to Lee Ziner.
Well, it's hard to pin the blame here, Jim, because both cars are so out of shape, but it is Gasparelli there on the right of your screen who seems to come more across the center line than the other car. And, of course, ironically, it's Gasparelli that then becomes absolutely total in this collision with the guardrail. It's fascinating the way the rear wheel, the throttle must be partly jammed, because look at that rear wheel spinning and just throwing up clouds and clouds of smoke, tire smoke.
Which created some suspense regarding Gasparelli's condition, but because of the sturdy roll cage with which these cars are equipped, he was unhurt. That happened in the alcohol funny car competition. The more prestigious class is fuel funny car racing, and earlier Sam Posey took a look at one of those cars.
It has often been observed that there is nothing humorous at all about a funny car. They are only a fraction of a second slower down the strip than the all-out AA fuel dragsters, and to sit in one, as I am now, is a truly frightening and claustrophobic experience. The body is just a thin fiberglass shell. In spite of its size, it weighs just over 100 pounds. The driver sits right behind this enormous engine and right beside these rear tires. If something goes wrong, the only way out of this car is through a hatch in the roof.
And now we're going to see the two semifinal races in the funny car division. The first one will match the defending NHRA funny car champion, Canadian Frank Hawley, against Tom McEwen of Fountain Valley, California. Then we'll see Tom Anderson of Macedon, New York, against Gary Bergen of Stanton, California. Funny cars. These cars are almost as fast as the top fuel dragsters, which you saw earlier. And in this race, it is Hawley on the left and McEwen on the right.
They're almost as fast, and they're a great deal more difficult to drive, Jim, because they have a much shorter wheelbase. They're not as stable when they come off the line.
Frank Hawley grabbed a bit of an edge at the start, and he is going to hold that lead all the way through the quarter mile. So it is Frank Hawley of London, Ontario, and Canada who easily eliminates McEwen and moves into the funny car final. Now here's the reaction of McEwen's pit crew. Remember, the cars don't stop until they're a half mile down the track. There's Hawley's pit crew. They have just now focused on the fact that their man won.
The other semifinal funny car match is between Tom Anderson and Gary Bergen. And until just moments ago, the Tom Anderson crew, including Anderson himself, was completing a major engine overhaul and change. In fact, there goes a new cylinder head right onto the thing. Anderson very, very much involved in the work himself, and it makes you wonder, Jim, as he comes to the line, how can his concentration be 100% after he's just worked that hard on the car?
Things have gone well for him, though, in earlier rounds. Anderson is the leading qualifier in this division at 238-plus miles per hour. Interesting that the men considered the two biggest bankrolls in the division, Kenny Bernstein and Don Prudhomme, were both eliminated in earlier rounds. Now there's the start. Bergen on the left, Anderson on the right, and it is going to be Tom Anderson who holds the edge all the way down the track. So Anderson, the leading qualifier, will move into the final against Frank Hawley. We'll take another look at the start, and it is fascinating to reflect that this engine, which won the run for Tom Anderson and has put him into the final, was just moments ago in pieces in his pit.
Pretty exciting stuff. You had an engine change, and you got it together in time to win a very, very close race. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel good because the car performed like it should. Even with the engine change and everything, it's tough, but we done it.
It's amazing to me to see an engine that far apart and back together in time to do what you just did.
We got a good crew.
Drag racing, more than other forms of racing, critical action takes place as much off the track as on it. Here you're seeing a 30-minute engine change compressed into just 30 seconds. It's kind of a cross between an Indy pit stop and open heart surgery.
The most sophisticated and well-backed racers have crews of up to 4 or 5 people, but most of the racers work on their own cars as well. And even as we speak, Bob Glidden, one of the two finalists in the pro stock competition, is readying for his final race with Frank Iaconio.